Hello and welcome everyone, and this is game number 2 of a best of 3. It is between Bly and San, and my goodness, game number 1 was fairly intense, but just by the very grip of it, we saw San manage to take the game after some really nice Mass Phoenix production to counter the Mutalist, and nearly won Bly that game. But this is game number 2, everything to play for, and well, in the top left position we have got the Green Zerg himself from Team Acer. It is Bly. And his opponent down in the bottom right, the red Protoss player from Azubu, San. So, what can we expect from these two players? Well, game number 1 we saw some pretty fun things. We saw Bly go with the time-old approach of, I'm going to get an early gas and then just not get speed for ages. Or roaches, or anything, because that's just how Bly rolls. San, on the other hand, he was like, Stargate. Stargate on this map, not too bad either, because yeah, dead space into the main, bit of dead space here into the natural, the third base, lots of dead space. And I'm not talking about that awesome horror game, I'm talking about times where it can be a bit of a horror as a Zerg player when air units start flying in, and you're like, oh dear, I wasn't ready for that. But, game number 1, Bly really was ready for it, because he scouted out not only with Zerglings in the base, but also with an Overlord. He was aware, he was prepared, and yeah, it's kind of like, if you want to be a good StarCraft player, you really should be like a Boy Scout. Always go prepared, like, be prepared for anything. You don't know what's coming, so scout. Scout out, take a good little look, say, hey, what's happening around here? What has he got in his base? What opener is he going for? And with San, he's going for the same opener as game number 1, just getting that forge down. Bly though, he's like, yeah, hatchery, I've got my spawning pool nearly finished. This probe, do what you want. No pylon block though is coming down this game. It did in number 1, but number 2 he's just like, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't cool, it wasn't worth it. Nobody likes a pylon block, so I'm just gonna scout around with this probe, and this is like the adventures of Peter the Probe. He's just like buzzing around on his little cloud of jet fumes there, just having a little look, gonna come on patrol command, take a little chill. Bly though, he's about to send an end to this because there's some Zerglings on their way, so we're going to watch the last minute of Mr. Probe here. As he just goes back and forth, kind of relentlessly, sees the Zerglings, and oh my goodness, this Probe. Okay, the Probe, has he juked it? Okay, he's hiding behind there, but the Zerglings unfortunately can still see. This is like the craziest adventure we have ever cast, right? Like, I know I'm just following this one Probe, but that is honestly because not too much else is really going on. If we come back here, we can just see Gateway, Photon Cannon, Nexus all on their way down. These Zerglings desperately gonna try and sneak their way through the cannon. Instantly finished, and here comes the Zerglings. Okay, the Zerglings, they're waiting. They're waiting for their powers, because if 6 running, 4 will make it. That's pretty bad odds, I'll give it that much, but Zerglings, they're not the smartest things. They just listen to the Overlord, or Karrigan, or whoever around really is ready to take a little look and say, just run in there guys, run in, it's fine. Only about half of you will die, nothing to worry about. A third, half, give or take a little bit, but so far they've got a mind of their own. They're going to come and chase down this probe because they're like eager little Labrador puppies. They're just like, I want to catch a probe, and that's what they're going to try and do. Meanwhile, up here for Bly, he's not taking down a third. He's got this gas up early once again. He's up at 72 gas. Are we going to see speed at 100? Maybe. Maybe not. With Bly, I just don't know anymore. Any other player would be like, yeah, it'll be speed. He'll get it at 100 because that's just what Zerg players do. Bly is going to do it this game, so he's learned from game number 1 that saving it until, I think it must have been like the 10-minute mark or something ridiculous when he finally got it. Then that probably isn't the optimal timing of Zergling speed, and instead it's just going to be keeping it there. In terms of scouting information as well, if we take a look at Bly's vision, not too much. It's all a bit dark around here. It's a bit like, ooh, there's something that could be about to kill me. And it's going to be a Stargate that could be about to kill him. Hasn't got scouted yet. The Zerglings are just going to go straight up against the Zealot. The Zealot is running back to the safety of Photon Cannon, which frankly I just think is cheating. If you've gone that far out, you should commit to your actions and not run back to your friends. Just don't bait those poor little Zerglings. They just wanted a little bit of om-nom times with a nice little setup. But yeah, Stargate, it's coming down. Probably going to be Phoenix again. Could be a Voidway, could be an Oracle, but Phoenix generally have quite a lot of utility through. And after Bly showing that he was quite happy to go up to Mutalisks in game number 1, I wouldn't be surprised to see San pump out those Phoenix again, just to try to deny, because that was probably the only point that San looked a little bit dodgy in game number 1 was when those Mutas first hit, and indeed, here comes now down the Phoenix. He probably will actually go up to 4 this game, I'd imagine, rather than the 3 he did in game 1, because he's going to want to make sure that those Mutas don't come out. And a good way to stop that is by getting down a lot of Phoenix, because then you're just like, nah, not worth it. But for the time being, third base is going to be really quite late again, actually even later than it was in the first game. Bly keeping this until gone like the 7 minutes 10, so a good near 20 seconds later than it was in the first game, which was already quite a late third, especially up against a Forge Fast Expand. But what that allows Bly to do is get up this lair quicker. But he's still only on Zergling tech. He's got his third and fourth gas coming down on the Phoenix. Are already on their way out. The Overlord is not yet dead, even though there are 2 Phoenix running around the map. They're just not really too bothered about that one. One just wanting to get some scouting information, get a look at when the third's coming down, what sort of timing can be expected. There's the Hydra Den, there is the Roachron, something that was potentially critically missing from the first game. Bly is not going to be making that mistake again. Is going to lose this Overlord, which is going to supply block him, which is incredibly frustrating. He's got to wait a good 20 seconds until the next one is up, and he's going to get resupply blocked by that Overlord dying. There's another one just chilling over here, which San has not spotted yet, luckily, because otherwise that could have been a right nightmare. But there's the quick little unsupply block. 3 more Overlords on the way. Musket Arguments is also getting researched here, giving those Hydralisks just a little bit of extra speed. The Phoenix still just having a good peek around, being like, yo, what up? What's happening? What's going on? 3 Phoenix yet again. This 3 Phoenix is so specific. It's really pretty funky, actually. Force Phoenix is the common thing to see, because that's when you can lift a queen and kill it with the remaining 3 Phoenix in one lift. It's kind of just a good number to get down, but Sandy's like, nah, don't need that. 10 roaches, though, are on their way, and that's going to really help against this little shove that's making its way across the map. Yes, there is a robotics facility on its way down and some additional gateways, but all that robo's not out. That means no immortal, and that means roaches, good unit, especially if mixed in with a couple of Hydralisks, which are about to have speed. But the third, incredibly late, and because of that, Bly's only 4 workers ahead of that of his opponent. These Phoenix are going to supply block Bly once again, just doing a right good job of being such a royal pain in the ass. It's just like, well, I'm supply blocked again, and when I'm going mass roaches, I definitely don't want to get more supply blocked than I already would. Oh, the queen getting lifted up there, a couple of force fields going down, but the roaches is like, no sentries, you're gonna die. This mothership torch does not have enough energy for a mass recall for another 2 yet, and even then it might be a bit of a waste trying to use it, because there really isn't that much stuff here left to die. So good little trade here by Bly. Even though he's lost a few more resources, a lot of gas went down for Azubu-san, and that's in itself a bit of a nuisance, because you want to make sure that you keep those sentries up, banking up, pulling up the energy, ready for a good number of force fields later on. The robotics bay is though on its way out here for San, and he is going to lose a couple more units retreating back, plus these pylons, but it's really this counter push from the roaches he's got to be a little cautious of. He does not have an immortal down yet. First one is just now coming out, so he's going to want to use that as best he can to make sure that he does hold off these roaches. Going to want to just try and buy himself a bit more time. It is popping out as we speak. Some great force fields there from San. Going to be able to stop these roaches getting any kind of retreat down here, and they are all going to get picked off very cost effectively now, and that just means that actually that push loses a lot of momentum. A 4th base trying to come down, so a relatively quick 4th in comparison to the 3rd, but still not massively soon. And this is really essential, because Bly did delay his 3rd for such a long period, and he's still only pumping these roaches. No Hydras have come out, even though Hydra speed has been researched. There's no sign yet of groove spines though, so not a big commitment. Instead, it's just going to be a good chunk of Mutalisks, which does need to get identified fairly soon. And in come these Phoenix. They could be just the ones to spot it. The Spire now cannot be seen. Oh, that's so close. Oh, the Queen is going to take 2 lifts to kill. It's really essential that San goes in there and takes a check. He is going to force a cancel at this 4th, or may even kill it without the cancel going down. But the big thing is that San, now even though he's seen the Mutalisk, he could have seen that a bit sooner, has restarted Phoenix production. Roaches coming to try and punch their way into the natural, say no to that Zealot. A single force field will go down, delayed a little bit. The Mothership Core coming over, getting the Photon Overcharge out, ready to try and force this back, buy himself a bit more time. The remaining units are on their way back. The Mutalisks taking quite a bit of fire. The Phoenix trying to just keep them out of play as long as they can. 12 mutas are on the field, but a lot of them over the other side of the map. In the second wave, Phoenix lifting up a good number of these roaches just from 3 units are always good units, but additional Stargate is on its way down. More Phoenix trying to get pumped out. Chrono boosting them ASAP in order just to try and get as many on the field as he can to prevent these mutas from being too much of a threat. It'll be interesting to see when Bly chooses to get out some more Corruptors in order to deal with that. Should hopefully be relatively quick, because otherwise these Phoenix count is going to skyrocket, and once that starts going up and up and up, that's where these mutas get a lot less effective. They don't have Corruptor support. But interestingly, Bly he's not really switching it up at all. He's just still pumping more mutas. +1 is a lot later than it was in the previous game. He will pick off this proxy pylon, but Sandy's got a good few spares, so won't get supply block. He's just trying to get as many Phoenix as he can for the moment. They are still just baiting themselves around. Some photon cannons in the main base, ready to try and stop them on their way. But the Phoenix not engaging too well. They're flying straight into the flock of Mutalisks, and that is going to force Sand to pull back a lot of these units. Zerglings are running their way back in to try and see if there is the third. The photon cannon can sit there, can be a little bit of a threat, but with this many mutas, they are just going to pump straight through it. Photon overcharge is going down, but a good number of pylons, which are used to warp down on the low ground, are slightly exposed. Mutalisk going to try and find a nice little gap there, but San, he's got so many Phoenix now, it's going to be tough to do anything. There's 18 Phoenix up against 7 Phoenix up against 18 Mutalisks, which, if they get in range, won't fare too well, but they can kite so easily and deal a lot of damage to them. So that just means that San has got to be paying attention to his micro ability. The 5th base is coming down, the 4th taken, but no gas is there after it was was just flat out denied earlier on by the Protoss player. So Bly, he's not super ahead. He's only been a base up for a while, but wasn't equal bases quite a long period. The work account, 9 difference between them, not as great as Bly would want. And San now, with a small supply lead, is starting to move his way forward, but that is going to be met by a counterattack by a good number of Mutalisks. But 3 photon cannons here are actually doing quite the number, and the Phoenix are going to be coming in, dealing a tremendous amount. The Mutas trying to clump up as quickly as they can, but the damage is already being done here. The first volley going off, and if you clump up these Mutas like this, just one volley from all of them can be absolutely devastating to the Phoenix. But this is not going to be enough of a distraction to stop San just punching into this natural base. He has got that single Colossus starting to reap down pain. He's got the Zealots there. The Phoenix still trying to stop as much of this as possible. A good number of cannons just preventing the counterattack. The natural base will fall. A lot of Zealots in there too. Going to start working away at any of those drones that get in range. Of course, the Stalkers are going to have to now go up against the Mutalisks that are on their way back, but there's not that many of them. 11 on the field. Yes, there's 9 more. Will take us up to 20, but the Phoenix count at 10, and these Phoenix just deal so much damage with the Stalkers there too. I don't think the Mutas alone are going to be able to deal with this. Luckily, though, the Mothership Core is not with the army. It's sitting back in the natural base, so that means mass recall is not an option. But now many Overlords are going down. A couple of Mutalisks just running straight do get picked off, and that's certainly not what you want. Zealots warping in towards the 4th base. The Phoenix still just picking at anything they can. Bly nearly at half the supply of that of his opponent, about to lose this 4th base. Zergling's trying to pick up that proxy pylon, will be able to. But it's the Mutalisk flock. If that keeps getting whittled down, things are not going to be looking good. The Zealots dealing so much damage. Now the Phoenix engaging incredibly well. Bly is under half the supplies of opponent now, and that means that it will take nothing short of a miracle for him to be able to win this game. The Phoenix just slowly chipping away, being microed incredibly effectively by San, trying to stop these Mutalisks from doing too much. They can try and move forward. Will get one volley off there, but there just isn't enough of them to engage this many Phoenix, even if they get the head-on engagement and are able to attack. All the while, the lair has been taken down, the Spire getting focused, the spawning pool getting focused, but Bly down at 30 supply. There really is nothing you can do now. Just an intense little bit of an air battle coming down, but yeah, this is now San's game. Bly GG's out, the Mutalisks get taken down, and that means Azubu San takes the series 2-0. So, if you enjoyed that cast, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I get new games up daily, so I'll catch each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. I'm Madals, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.